Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Tuesday! It's Tuesday! Ugh, I just fluffed my hair and then it made my ear itchy. We are on card number 18 of getting into the vortex or getting into self-awareness. It's basically what it is, the vortex of your soul. Why do I always say soul like that? Good Lord, it's like I'm trying to steal your soul. I'm not. I'm trying to heal it. Heal it, fix it, build it, whatever. But I always say soul like I'm trying to steal it from you. So sorry about that. Too many horror movies growing up. Anyway, good morning, Eileen. So I pulled the inspiration cards to start our morning with. And let's see how it goes. 50 inspirational quotes. 50 inspirational quotes. So, all right. Woo. Okay, guess that's it. That's all you get today. Two from Norma S. Scholl and Maria Robinson. So, nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. Maria Robinson. So again, nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. So, I agree and disagree because I think it's the wording on there. But you can, when you start today, that is your beginning. But I think the point is that we spend so much time looking backwards and thinking, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, all these different things, that we let time just slip right by us and we stop living the life that we're in. So, again, nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and have a new end, make a new ending. All right. Sorry. I don't know what's happening with me today. I'm still so discombobulated. But I was thinking about it, right? And it's like, it's kind of fun to see how far I can go before I fall apart. So, in fact, there's one card sitting right on the top of this deck that I'm going to read because it's from Neil Gaiman. So, anyways, the next one, Norma S. Scholl, or Skoll. Everything we have is really loaned to us. We can't take anything with us when we depart. If we have no use for a thing, we should pass it on to someone else who can use it now. So there you go. Basically, declutter. Declutter. And the last one, Neil Gaiman. Go and make interesting mistakes, make amazing mistakes, make glorious and fantastic mistakes, break rules, leave the world more interesting for your being here. Make good art. I like that one a lot. So, those are your inspirational cards for today. The very, very first one, I like the very first one and really the very last one because it's all about just letting go of control. Letting go of, and people don't like, older sibling and I had a conversation about this last night. Like, well, I don't understand when I'm controlling things or this, that, and the other. And I told her, I said, this is what I've learned. There's different kinds of controls, right? There's controls where we just have to basically chokehold everything in our lives. And there's other times when we try to control a situation by not bothering other people, so we keep it all to ourselves. And we just kind of let it implode. And then it just kind of brings us down, right? You're like a sinking ship, but you're still floating. Like the top part of you is still floating at the top. Think of it like an iceberg, right? You have this iceberg that doesn't look that big. And from the top, but when you go underneath, it's huge. And that's what we do to ourselves sometimes. And it's because we are afraid of making mistakes. We are afraid of, making those fabulous, glorious, amazing mistakes. But I think also it's because, we get stuck in that old new beginning. Move forward. Start today. Make a new ending. If you can't bring yourself to figure out how to create the new beginning, start today and make a new ending. All right. And then, of course, the other one that we had, which was about, everything that we have here is basically lent to us because we can't take it with us to the other side. Well, I guess you can be buried with it, but really. But I think what they mean in the most part is if you're hanging on to something that you don't need, you don't use, and you think one day I think I'm going to use it, but you haven't used it in 5 years, maybe it's time to give it to somebody else. Or donate it, let somebody else find a use for it. So give it a new life, right? Let it have its own new start to make a different ending. Sorry. So anyways, we're on card number 18 of getting into self-awareness. slash getting into the vortex, which is basically the core of your soul. Oh, look, I said soul normally this time. But this one looks interesting. Like I said, with the exception of yesterday, I don't normally read ahead on these cards. So these cards are as new to you as they are to me, except for card number 58 and number 60, which honestly I've forgotten already. But that's how I kind of found this deck. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this deck. And then I read it and thought, whoa, this will be perfect to piggyback on the self-love lessons. So, relationships I don't want, clarify those I do want. Relationships I don't want, clarify relationships I do want. I hope I put that in place because I can't really see it. But whenever you know what you do not want, you always know more clearly what you do want. So in any poignant moment of awareness of another person's undesirable situation, give your undivided attention to the idea of improvement that is hatched from your interaction / observation. And as you learn to do that, not only will you be of increasing value to others, but you will see how your relationships with others add immeasurably to your own becoming. I'm assuming that means your own becoming of becoming, your new ending. But again, relationships I don't want, clarify those I do. And again, relationships is kind of, it's a generalized term. I mean, there are people in your life, you have like coworkers. I talked many times before about a coworker I had that would just kind of, I think there was just so much pain in their own life that they used to bully me a lot. I mean, at work. And it's just, one day I stood up for myself and it's like, you know what? And then she's like, well, you're so sensitive. It's like, no, I put up with this shit for over 2 years. And it's like, I'm done. It's like, I'm starting to see my value. I'm starting to see my self-worth. And it's like, and if you don't like that, you can step off the train. You can step off the Shelley train because it's pulling into the depot and you're welcome to climb off. And it changed a bit there, and not for very long, but enough where I knew my own worth. Sorry guys, this piece of hair. I was starting to learn my own worth. I don't think I fully understood my own worth yet, but I was starting on that healing journey. I was starting on, this is what I deserve. And I think that's a lot of times what holds us back, even in actual relationships. And well, I guess they're all actual relationships, romantic relationships, right? I finally had to come to terms with my own part in all of my failed relationships. And when I say my part, it's like, yeah, if you were to put it on paper, and by no means am I trying to make myself look like a saint, okay? But if you put it on paper, you would see what I truly did for these people without saying anything. It was like that iceberg, right? Oh, small on the surface, but lots of shit going on underneath the water. And I realized that I kind of created that. I wasn't open and communicative. I wasn't expressive when I was feeling pain, because the times that I had expressed it, I was told I was overreacting, stop being so sensitive, and, all the typical things that people will say. And so I just kind of brushed it aside and said, okay, well, how do I circle around this? Or how do I, navigate, I should say, around this so that I don't have to worry about them wondering what I'm thinking. And that was not the right thing to do. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you need to be equals. You need to be able to say how you're feeling and not be belittled for it. And if you're the person they're saying something to, listen. See, I listened. With my last boyfriend, we had a very delicate situation because I was very, very close to my previous boyfriend's kids. Now, his family, he had family issues, not his own, but the parents and stuff. And so there was always this ingrained thought that he was going to be cheated on. That's not me. I'd been cheated on several times, not something I wanted to do to somebody else. And like I said, I'm not judging anybody. We all make mistakes when we're young. We all do things that, we end up paying the price for somehow, in some way. And like I said, I'm in by no means way or how perfect, but I was still really close to my ex-boyfriend's kids. And And they loved me. I mean, they were little and they wanted to, hang out. The place I lived at this point had a pool, and it's like, oh, can we go to Shelly's? And sometimes I'd help out and babysit because their mom lived in San Diego. And of course, we're a county up. So this became a bad sticking point. And I had to give them up. I had to give up my relationship with them. And there was nothing, because he was jealous, he was scared, I did that for him. But as the relationship progressed, it became very one-sided. And when I had concerns or issues and I wanted to say something, it fell on deaf ears. Like, my needs were not as important as his. And it really started to hurt, and it really started to drive me away, and it really started to push me away. And, it got to the point where, like I said, I mean, how do you go through a 4-year relationship and at my age still never had a New Year's kiss? Period. Anybody. All right. I know they seem like small things to some people, but these are huge things in a girl's life and even a guy's life. But these are huge things for me. Never had a Valentine's date. All right. And pretty much missed every single one of my birthdays. Like the actual day. Not the party my parents planned. That was a backwards surprise party for me on my 25th birthday. And as I go back and I think about that, I think, wow, this is where I fell short for myself. This is what I don't want and what I do want. Yeah, I've been single for an eternity, it feels like. And no, I'm not putting that out to the universe, so you can I do not wish to manifest that into reality. But I'm making a point. It's been hard. It's not always easy being single, especially being single for as long as I've been single, not having any kids to focus on, just cats and a sibling and my family in San Diego and elsewhere. But my point is that by far my life is better now than it was when I was hiding all these emotions, when I was feeling all these, like I wasn't good enough, like I wasn't strong enough, like I wasn't smart enough, like I was only good for them when they had time for me. And we lived together. Seriously, we lived together, and still nothing. And every time I tried to have a conversation about, well, we do this or can we do that? Well, there was always some excuse. Do I think he was cheating on me? No, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't. But, and I'm saying that because, when you've been through that, you kind of get that spidey instinct. I think it almost happened once, but I nipped that in the bud fast. And maybe I should have ran then, but it didn't happen again. But it was just, there were so many other factors that it's not my story to share. So I know it's kind of, kind of circling the wagons here and not going anywhere. But I can't really share that part of their story because it's not my story to share. My story to share is the part that they played in my life. And it took me so many years to really understand my worth, to really see who I am inside, what I deserve. Do I think the next person that comes along in my life will be perfect? No. But they'll be perfect for me. And I'm almost guessing that because I'm putting all these things out there, that the person that does come into my life will be someone who does listen. And maybe it's because we're so fucking old now that we've learned all these lessons we didn't learn when we were in our 20s and 30s, right? So, hope springs eternal. But the difference is, it doesn't matter. I'm not out to change anybody. I know that whoever I end up with in life, we're going to click like two peas in a pod. And you just know it because you put yourself in a place when you open yourself up to possibilities, when you open yourself up to opportunities, when you find that self-love, when you start doing these things and decorating this house of self-love that you built, you know who you're going to let into your life. You know who is good enough to let into your life. And people become so concerned with the outside. Don't be concerned with the outside. I mean, truly don't. Because all of this, it changes. It changes over time. And you could be missing out on what's in here. That, hopefully does not change too much over time. And I mean that if you're in a good place, that you stay there, that you find the tools and, give yourself that compassion and grace when you need it so that you don't explode into some kind of volcanic eruption where everybody around you, gets hit by ash and gas. That's not what you want. Oh, speaking of volcanoes, I got a sidestep here because it is so funny. So my dad is on a cruise with my cousin and they're cruising around the Hawaiian Islands, and their first island was the Big Island. And Mauna Kea, for the first time in 34 years, has started to erupt. Sent my dad a text. Hey, this is so awesome. I can't wait to see pictures of the volcano erupting, this, that, and the other. It stopped erupting yesterday, literally the day before they arrived. I just thought, that's karma. I don't know whose karma. Not theirs. That's just that for my dad and my cousin. That's Murphy's Law, right? Murphy's Law, hard at work. Like, oh, we're so excited to see it. And then, but maybe my dad manifested this because he's all like, big deal. I'm sure it looks like it did 54 years ago when I saw it the last time. And this is pre-Shelly Marie. And I should have told him, I says, this is your fault. But he won't believe that. He won't believe. And I personally don't think one person can just make a volcano stop. But you never know. You never know how strong your manifestations are. My dad's a pretty good manifester without even realizing that he is. So, anyways, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying it kind of sucked. But yeah, you don't want to become that volcanic eruption. And this goes in any relationship. If you have a struggling relationship with a family member, and they refuse to see your side, sometimes you just have to accept that that's how it is. Don't go begging for forgiveness. Don't go, because you didn't do anything wrong. And there are always going to be people that butt heads with us. And sometimes it gets to the point where it's so bad that you just don't talk anymore. And that is sad. And in that case, I would say try to find a common something. Find something in common. This is what I mean when I'm so discombobulated. It's like, how long will it be before she just implodes and her brain stops working? Find something in common and just move in that direction. But, leave that sensitive subject behind. People can hold grudges. In my family, it's a sport, but I'm just kidding. I love my family. I love my family, but in some cases, it can get pretty bad. And I think, sometimes you have to forgive and let go. It doesn't mean you have to accept these people and let them back into your life, especially if they bring nothing but toxicity in. But, and I'm not talking about my family now. I'm just talking about in general, period. I mean, we've had some issues. Okay. I've talked about them in the past with, one of my family members and one of their parents. And it's just, sometimes you got to walk away, and it's hard, People say, well, you're just walking away and ignoring it. No, it takes courage and bravery to walk away from somebody, especially a parent. Because, you see other people with their parents and you think, wow, why can't I have that? I'm on Twitter sometimes, or I was on Twitter this morning and yesterday morning, and somebody had posted about how many people have been through this, that, or the other. And I'd been through some of that they were talking about. But I couldn't respond because then they bring up parents. I'm not going to lie to you. There are some times when I see things, and I am so grateful for the parents I have had. But, I'm not trying to make light of my mom passing away. It's just the words are escaping me. But I know there were times when I would talk, and I was working through my pain on the Aloha perspective of, some of the stuff that my mom had been through. My mom and I had been through together, just, sweeping the depression under the rug, just kind of ignoring the pain I was in because of, the way she was raised. And, my father was raised a little bit differently. His parents were just ridiculous. And, because of that, he learned on his own the compassion and empathy. So it was really kind of interesting, because you would think that somebody who had the parents that he had wouldn't really understand compassion and empathy, but my grandma could be pretty tough. I mean, we called her the general for a reason, my mom's mom. And I think sometimes that's why my mom was that way, because, she kind of reminded me of the general too. So, but all those things aside, when I see some of these things that happen to people and it's their parents that are involved, I think, wow, I won parent lottery. So, if you take your parents for granted because maybe you just disagreed with a lot of things, but you're free to be your own person now and you still have a relationship with them, be grateful. Be grateful, because there's a lot of people I know and a lot of people that are out there that do not, and wish they did. Wish they had two parents who are still alive being functional in their lives. I mean, my mom passed away a while ago, but I still feel the lessons that I've learned and learning from her and her life story, fueling my path, laying down the foundation and the paving the way, because I'm remembering a lot of the things that she taught me, her and my dad. So be grateful for that, because those are the relationships we do want to keep if we can. So I'm going to read this one more time. Relationships I don't want, clarify those that I do want. Whenever you know what you do not want, you always know more clearly, what you do want. So, in any poignant moment of awareness of another person's undesirable situation, give your undivided attention to the idea of improvement that is hatched from your interaction/observation. And as you learn to do that, not only will you be of increasing value to others, but you will see how your relationships with others add immeasurably to your own becoming. If what I said made no sense or didn't feel like it matched the card, I apologize, because like I said, my brain is it's still spinning, and I'm really trying to make sense of these, but for the most part, I personally think it did. I shared my own experiences because I think a lot of times, when we see relationships, we're not just thinking like family relationships or work relationships or friendships. We're thinking the romantic type of relationships. And, having been outside of that box and being the one looking in for a long time, you truly do start to see what you do and don't want. But it's not just that. When two people come together, they could be the most different people in the world. But if they're your person, you are going to fit like a puzzle piece. And some people will be like, I have no idea how they fit. My parents, for an example, again, an example of my parents. My mom, I always thought my mom was into sports. I really, really did. I mean, because growing up, she was always into the sports. Well, for the most part. And I couldn't understand, it's like, well, how did you both end up with the same favorite team? Blah, blah, blah. Turns out, my mom told me one time, and I said, how did you become a sports fan? She's like, well, I figured if I ever wanted to spend time with your father, I better learn to like it. Now, I know that feels very backwards thinking, but I will tell you, my mom became a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, it's escaping me. My mom became pretty hardcore. I mean, she would comment, she would be like, oh yeah, they play like a farm team, or she would think she was responsible when our football team would start losing, so she'd leave the room, but you could hear her screaming at the TV in the other room, like, come on, what are you doing? So, she found her way to sports the long way around, and because of my dad. But, what I'm saying about that is when when I think about my parents before they got married and when they first met, they really were like night and day. I mean, totally like night and day. My dad is a hopeless romantic. Okay, at least when he was younger. I don't know about now, but when he was younger, from some of the letters I know, I probably shouldn't be sharing that, right? Just some of the letters I saw they wrote my mom and this, that, and the other, because and my mom was kind of like, okay, it's just, they loved each other, and when my dad lost my mom, I I know he doesn't really watch these that often, so I know it still affects him. And I know it still hurts him. And he buries it. And every so often when he's alone, he'll deal with it himself. But they were like that puzzle piece. That it made no sense, but they fit perfectly. And they learned to kind of, gel around each other. I don't want to say conform, okay? Because they didn't conform to one another. They learned to gel together. And, I think that's what it is. The relationships are a compromise. Relationships are a sincere, extreme. That is probably, there's two big C words in a relationship: communication and compromise. And if you've been in relationships where you haven't had them, you need to start putting it out there that you want that. And the big H, honesty. Honesty is always the best policy. Don't try to lie your way out of something. If it's bad, maybe you can figure it out and work through it together and find out why it ended up there. I have to tell you, one of the songs that drives me the craziest is the Pina Colada song. And I don't know if older siblings are watching, but if she is, I'm waiting to hear her laughing, because these two fucking people in this song are so dense. I mean, so fucking dense. It's a good song. But all my life I was singing this song, and one day I was on my way to work, the song came on the radio, and I wasn't really in a mood to sing, so I just started listening, and I thought, oh my God, seriously? This song has been in my life for decades, and I'm just getting what it means now. Like, I was literally in my 40s years old when I realized this. And I thought, what a bunch of fucking knuckleheads. I mean, seriously, excuse my language, but that's how passionate I am about these two. They are together, put an ad in a paper to start cheating on each other, and then come together and find themselves. It's like, if you two would have sat down and just communicated, you would not be having this Pina Colada song. Okay, well, we need the Pina Colada song in our lives, but seriously, and yes, I do like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. But it's like, this is what I'm talking about. That is the big bright light, okay? That's the marquee sign over relationships. Be honest, communicate. And what was the other? Oh my God. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, my brain. Jesus. I said the two big C's and I forgot the other one already. Communication, compromise. Thank you. Whoever popped that in my head. Thank you. Maybe I should write this down. Communication, compromise, and honesty. To me, those are the biggest things. And remember, people are going to say, well, and conforming. No, you don't want to conform in a relationship. You want to gel together. You want to learn each other's interests. And, and if you're not interested in something, be honest about it, because that's something they can do for themselves. Or maybe you want to learn something about it because, you want to learn whatever, makes your partner happy. If you're that partner, don't push them away. Just say, well, okay, because it could be something new to share. There's always going to be something in our lives that will remain separate from whoever we're with. I mean, my mom loved to craft and scrapbook and do all these really cool things. I mean, she was very creative in that respect. Not my dad's jam. So she had that, and my dad loves to golf. Well, my dad and we used to golf a lot. Not my mom's jam. So he had that. But those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Just don't worry if you don't have anything in common. If you have that spark, let it spark. But remember what you do and do not want in a relationship. Don't conform to somebody just because you're afraid of being alone. Don't conform to a friendship just because you think they're the coolest person on the block and you want them to be your friend. Because if they treat you like a piece of crap, no, that's not what you deserve. I think what we all forget in life is that we deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. What we also need to remember is that people that we care about from us on our end deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. We cannot forget that. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. So, and like I said, we all have some weird, sketchy thing in our past, right? That thing that maybe we're ashamed of, or maybe we had to heal from it, or maybe we had to grow through it, or whatever. Don't judge people by their past. Don't judge them by their yesterday. Because, like I said, you could be missing today's amazing person if you judge them by yesterday. And so, God, I'm so sorry. I know. I have nothing to say. My hair keeps just trying to upend me here. But I mean, I personally like it today, but it's just being a jerk. However, just know your worth. I think to sum it up, know your worth. Because you're worth a lot and you're amazing. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you all back here tomorrow on, did I just say y'all? I'll see you all back here tomorrow. 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. It is public. Anybody can watch. I also upload it to YouTube and to my Facebook page, both the Aloha Perspective. And I also upload these to Twitter. If you want the short version without me yammering on for like 30, 40 minutes, you can go to TikTok under the Aloha Perspective. And I do the short version where I basically give you the card and a one-off comment. Like, I think today will be communication and compromise and honesty in a relationship. And my apologies to the Pina Colada song for kind of tearing you down. I think I was just so shocked when I finally stopped and listened to the words, and just like, you can sing something all day long, but you're not listening, right? And it's like, wait a minute, what's wrong with these two knuckleheads? So that's so mean, but it is a good song. However, again, you can TikTok. I also upload those to Instagram as well. So I hope everybody has, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I promise you, I'm still working on my brain. This is a work in progress going on here with this discombobulation. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging in there. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.